I'm going to show you the easiest way to get around your machine and select stitches. So first off, when you turn the machine on, you're going to be brought to a stitch number 1, and just a regular straight stitch. So you have 9, 10 stitches right here at your keypad. So if you want stitch number 2, these are all the quickest stitches you're always going to use. So if you need to sew on buttons, stitch number 9, and then it's all set and ready to go. Back to a straight stitch, just touch number 1. Need a zigzag? Stitch number 5. Buttonhole? 0. And look, it always changes and tells you what foot to use at any given time. Okay, so now to get to the stitches up above here, notice there are 4 rows, and they start with 10. There's a bar in the middle that will indicate what stitch number. That's that dark bar there. And there's a picture right here. This will help you remember what you need to push to get to the stitches that are all up with the decorative stitches. This is what we're going to call the stitch menu button. That is this button right here, right at the top. When you push that, you're going to notice you're going to get 4 categories and a heart. Those are your saved stitches where you can, and your favorites, those we'll cover in our video where we can save settings, save memories, save all sorts of things. So to move across, so right now, stitch menu 1 is all our utility stitches. And if we use the arrow to the right, we get to stitch menu 2, the quilting stitches. That's the second row up here. Menu 3, decorative stitches, and then also menu 4, decorative stitches. So whichever one you have highlighted. So if I want to do, for example, a blanket stitch, that is in row 2, and it's stitch number 20. So I'm going to highlight the second group, the quilt row 2, and then touch 20 quickly. So if you go too slow, you're not going to get it. But if I go to 0, you'll get that stitch. Look right here. It says 2:20. I'm in row 2 and stitch 20. I have a recommendation for stabilizer and a size and needle because I've told it I'm working on a woven medium fabric. That's part of the sewing advisor that we'll get into. Love that. So if we just need to get back to a straight stitch, remember these stitches are just, you don't have to do anything, just push them. And even though you're in row 2, you still have straight stitch 1, or stitch 1 is the first stitch. Then it'll take you right back to it. So it doesn't matter what row you're in, that's great. Okay, so let's say we want something from row 4. Go up to the stitch menu button, arrow over, or you can arrow down, either way. You can go up or down from row to row. Decorative stitches, pick your stitch. Let's go ahead and do stitch number, let's do 34. Now watch what happens if I push these buttons too slow. 3, 4, I get stitch 4. Well, that's not what I wanted, so just retype it again. We're already in row 4, 34. Now I get the stitch I'm looking for. While you're here, if you go ahead and just do your arrows right or left, you can just get to the next stitch. So if you're searching for a stitch or you're sewing out your decorative stitches, highly recommended, you can just touch these. And you don't have to dial in every stitch, 37, 38, 39. You can just go 37, 38. 39, and so forth. All right, arrows up and down don't do anything. Right and left does. When you want to get back to a straight stitch, even though you're on row 4, just touch stitch number 1 or turn the machine off and on. It'll get you back to that same stitch as well. We'll get into the sewing advisor. Those will get you even more options and quicker ways around your machine. And now we'll get into all the settings for these stitches. So give it a little practice, and I guarantee that no matter what, you'll know where that stitch menu is and how to get from stitch to stitch at ease.